Picture the last image you'll ever see. Now imagine it isn't going dark. When your heart stops, your brain doesn't switch off like a lamp. It does something stranger. It lights up harder than it ever has while you are alive. And what it does next may decide what dying actually feels like. You already know you're going to die. Everyone you love is going to die. And for all of human history, the one thing we could never report back on was the moment itself. The door only swings one way, so we filled the silence with stories. Tunnels, white light, a life flashing past. We assumed they were comforting fictions. But here's the unsettling part. When scientists finally got to watch a human brain in the act of dying, the fiction and the data started to rhyme. What you're about to hear isn't a belief. It's a recording. It begins in a hospital in Vancouver in 2022. An 87-year-old man is admitted after a fall. Doctors connect his brain to an EEG, a web of electrodes reading his neurons to watch for seizures. Then, mid-recording, his heart stops. Nobody planned this. For the first time, a human brain was being measured second by second as it crossed over. A neuroscientist named Ajmal Zemar at the University of Louisville studied the trace. In the 30 seconds before the heart fell silent and the 30 after, one rhythm spiked above all the others, gamma waves. The exact brainwave you produce when you dream, when you concentrate, and when you pull up a memory. But that was only the first clue. Here's what almost nobody realizes. That Vancouver trace wasn't a fluke. Cross to the University of Michigan, where a researcher named Jimo Borjigin had seen the same fire years earlier. In 2013, her team watched the brains of dying rats and found that in the seconds after the heart stopped, the electrical activity didn't crash. It exploded to levels higher than waking life. Then, in 2023, she found it in dying humans too. Two patients, as their hearts failed, lit up a region of the brain nicknamed the hot zone, the part tied to conscious experience. The dying brain wasn't powering down. By every signal we can read, it was switching on. Remember that word, hot zone. It matters in a second, so why would a brain about to die spend its final energy this way? Think about what gamma waves and that hot zone actually do. They're the machinery of memory and vivid awareness. A neurologist named Bruce Greyson spent 50 years collecting accounts from people pulled back from clinical death, and the same shape repeats across cultures, across ages, across centuries. A flood of memory, a sense of overwhelming calm, time coming undone. What the electrodes may be capturing is the brain doing the most human thing it knows. As the body lets go, it reaches back through everything you ever were and plays it. Not a slideshow, a last total act of remembering. But here's the part that overturns the easy reading. It's tempting to call this proof of an afterlife, a soul stepping toward the light. That's not what the data shows. The surge isn't the beginning of somewhere else. It may be the most intimate moment of here. Your brain, with the last current it will ever carry, building one final experience out of your own life. The light in the tunnel isn't a door. It's you, the mind, refusing to go quietly, telling itself the story of itself, one last time in the dark. We spend our lives terrified of the end as a kind of nothing, but the science whispers something gentler, that the last thing your mind may ever do is remember being alive in a rush of light and find that it was enough. You won't feel the machine stop. You may only feel the story. So maybe the task isn't to fear the final seconds, but to give them something worth replaying. If this stirred something in you, stay close. Next, on Tell Me Mind, we go the other direction in time and ask why you can't remember the very beginning of your life.